Katrina Shealy, Republican.
Mia McLeod, Independent.
Penry Gustafson, Republican.
Margie Bright Matthews, Democrat.
Sandy Sin, Republican.
You know, we've had such an outcry from all of South Carolina, from not just women, from men too, you know, that don't think that this is the right thing for our state. But I think that we fought so hard that it was such a letdown because we had others standing with us that had held this up.
My thoughts last night went straight to the women and girls of South Carolina who are going to be impacted in such a traumatic way, especially those who don't have the means or the income to have access to health care in a state like South Carolina where, you know, we haven't expanded Medicaid. We haven't done anything to put women in particular and girls on a level playing field. It's just another slap in the face for all of our women and girls across the state.
I felt defeated. And I kept telling them, you're putting politics over the life of women. And so at some point, we have to, as us five up here in a body of 46, we have to recalibrate. We've got to go back home and figure out how do we fix this. And then I think we all have the resolve that more women are going to have to run.
We definitely need more women. If we had had 3 more women in addition to the Democrats, we would have been able to hold this. We don't have it. It is highly anticipated that possibly 2 more Democrats will lose their seats next year because of the way redistricting works. And if that happens, then we're going to need to elect 5 women in order to, you know, hold certain lines. And this is just one of the issues that impacts females, but there are others. However, I don't feel like this is just a South Carolina problem. I cried this morning, actually. I feel like so much weight was on our shoulders, not just for South Carolina, but Florida, Georgia, the Southeast now.
This has repercussions across the country.
Yes. If you're not wealthy, you're not going to be able to, if you've gotten yourself in a situation, whether you just had sex and you're young or whether you were raped or anything like that, you're going to end up needing an airplane ticket or you're going to have a heck of a drive. And so it's going to impact lower income women. But I can't help but feel that history is going to write this. And my dad said that, and that made me feel better. Daddy said, this is going to be fixed.
Could I answer that question? I may be the only one who might feel a little bit differently. I didn't feel exactly sad, but I felt very conflicted and disappointed. And I shouldn't be, I guess, at this point, but I was disappointed that our colleagues did not listen to very, very reasonable amendments yesterday, especially about the multi-fetal pregnancy reduction, which absolutely should be included with today's IVF in vitro fertilization that's being utilized across the United States and in South Carolina. But at the same time, I am the eternal optimist. And what this showed us in South Carolina is that, yes, it can be done. People can work together for a common goal. And I'm hoping we'll keep on doing this and gather more support. And we will be putting forth new, legislation to try to fix as best as we can this bill that has a lot of flaws within it.
This is one of the most divisive issues in the country, and yet you were all able to come together from different parties. What is it about this issue that unites you?
A uterus? I don't know.
Yeah, right. All of us are women, all of us are moms. And, you know, that's a pretty strong bond that we have naturally.
You can't help but unite after a committee meeting when you hear a man said, we're sick of women using abortion as a form of birth control. We're sick of women slaughtering their babies. Really? Or you might, on the other side, you might hear, a woman should know that she's pregnant after 6 weeks.
There are only 5 women in the South Carolina State Senate. Do you feel like you still have a voice here?
Well, you're here. Do we have a voice?
Yeah.
Our voice is stronger now than ever, and we can not only talk about abortion and women and babies, but we can also, this invites a whole new set of topics for us to discuss and to bring to the table, because I think people are listening now more, especially the women. And we keep saying this, over half of our population in South Carolina are women. Women's issues are important. So yes, I think it's fair to say.
And having 5 women in the South Carolina Senate is historic. Never before in the history of our state have we had 5 women serve simultaneously. In fact, we went for how many years? 3? With no women.
With no women. And then
in the Senate. And so our voices are, I agree, they are stronger than ever, but we need help. We need strong women to run for office and to be a voice, help us be a voice for South Carolina's women and girls.
Yeah, I mean,
I do think the women that we have make a difference, because we were able to stop it from a total abortion ban, because that was on the table, and we stopped that.
That's right.
Twice.
And we gathered the support to stop that. Had it not been for us, that would have passed.
Yes,
Right.
absolutely.
So we did stop that.
Right.
And thank
That was the plan.
God.
Yeah.
So we have to fight hard to keep our seats and keep the women we have, and we have to work hard to get more women in the Senate.
In that regard, the public needs to know that we have been threatened. In particular, the 3 Republicans have been threatened multiple times, not only by our majority leader. He threatened me personally, saying that he would have an answer for me in 2024. A guy that was running for Republican Party chair, the head of the state, specifically told everyone that the party should take out the 3 women, and didn't even mention the 3 men. I mean, this kind of stuff happens to us a lot. And I think it's important for all the corporations that come to South Carolina and give tons of money to the Republican Party. I'm thankful that they do that to the caucus, but they need to understand that that money is going to be used in PACs to help defeat us. That's what's going to happen. So for all the corporations that give to the party, they really need to also turn around and support the women. And I know they do. I mean, I've had, big CEOs call and tell me of large corporations. And, we've got Boeing, we've got Volvo, we've got BMW, we've got lots of corporations, Cummings. They say this issue is very important because it's important to their workforce. Well, then they need to put their money where their mouth is, because we're going to have very expensive elections coming up.
but personally, I mean, you knew that this was a political risk.
I did know it was a political risk, but to me, I have to look myself in the mirror. And my goal was always to leave this state better than when I found it.
For the Republicans in the group, what message do you want to send to your party?
I think the message I want to send is, I know I did the right thing. Nobody, the Republican Party stands on the fact that we don't want people making decisions for us. So why should we make decisions for a woman about what to do with her own body, especially when she doesn't even know? You don't know you're pregnant when you're 6 weeks pregnant. I mean, so why should we? How do you know?
I think a couple of you had supported a 6-week restriction in the past. What changed?
Well, I also supported the 6-week bill, and I supported S1 that was struck down by the South Carolina Supreme Court. And I supported it because I agreed with most everyone else that we do need restrictions on abortion. 22 weeks is far too far, and we need some clarification for the state and for the women of the state. But as Senator Shealy stated, and I won't repeat what she said, but I back her up 100%, the bill wasn't the same bill. Unfortunately, the public really, I don't think they understand and know this. They just see the same number, it's our bill. But it isn't, it was completely changed. So you ask us, and many other people have asked us the same thing, well, what's changed?
So I'm looking around, and you have buttons that say elect more women. Do you hope that this moment inspires other women to run for office?
Yes. women can win. It's really, people want more women in office. We need a balance. I mean, if this whole issue would have been decided a long time ago, if only the women in the House and the Senate got to judge it, because we could work together and we could figure it out. But a lot of this is up to the men, the people that chair the committees, as to what bill they're going to get out. Senator Shealy and all of the Republican women sponsored a 12-week bill. We could not get it out. So we never had an opportunity to even debate a 12-week bill. The best we could do was do an amendment on this particular bill. And that is just not okay. I don't think that South Carolina is going to be okay with just 6 weeks. The women are not going to be okay with 6 weeks. And for any man that knows better and that stood up and turned around and then said, oh yeah, you know what, I think 6 weeks is good, when they know better, that's sad. If they're true believers, and a lot of them are, I don't fault them. They're voting on religious grounds, and that's okay. But the ones who know better and cut deals, I've got a problem with that.
And then just quickly, I mean, the idea that you are coming from a conservative state, what kind of message does this send to the country? What kind of message are you sending to the country?
That we're regressing, because we are. I think it sends an accurate message to America about where we are. Not just, I think, in South Carolina, what we've experienced here is simply a microcosm of what's happening across the country. People are tired of having government infringe on their rights and freedoms and intrude, as our government is still doing.
I think we've digressed in South Carolina as it relates to some of the legislation that has passed, and specifically this one. But I think there's been some progression as it relates to us 5 women, because we've belied the idea that there's a lot of divisiveness as it relates to going across the aisle and talking to Republicans. We've banded together. We have fun with each other. And even though we might go out to lunch or go shopping or things like that us girls do to relieve a lot of the monotony, we can still go in to discuss these laws that are before us and still go in and vote our conviction. So the divisiveness, I think South Carolina can be a beacon for the fact that, yes, you can find common ground with folks on the other side of the aisle.
Yeah. In 2016, when I first got involved with politics, and all you ladies, y'all were here and already there, I ran for office originally because of the toxic political environment. That's what got me in, and that's what's keeping me in. I think that we can be sincere leaders and do whatever we want to do, but do it with respect and kindness. And if there's anything I want to say to the country is, you do not have to be ugly to push your platform, to push your beliefs, to push your legislation. It doesn't have to be contentious, as I said yesterday on the floor. You choose how you're going to do it. And I would just I would love to see other legislators in South Carolina and way beyond just be more respectful to one another. And in that way, I think it's just going to be easier to move forward and find consensus for future legislation. Because this isn't just it. This is just the most important thing in the moment.
As you are talking to women in your state, what are you hearing from them on this issue?
Oh, the women overwhelmingly support us. It really was overwhelming when, not only when we came into the chamber, how many people were clapping for us and stuff, but they waited like an hour and a half after it was clear we were going to lose. And they cheered us going out the door. And I felt like a big loser, but when I saw all that crowd, it has to make you feel good. And the women overwhelmingly support us, and I'm talking about Republican women as well.
So you're hopeful.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Always.
And we're fighters. All of us are here because
we're
not
fighters.
afraid to fight.
Nobody got here
Exactly.
easily. Not one of us got here on an easy fight. Probably Sandy might have had I don't remember how bad your election was, but nobody really had a easy battle.
We live to fight
No.
another day.